Hi guys, so today I'm going to be discussing the famous gun show loophole myth. It's a common misconception with all of America about it being a loophole. As a fact, the majority of states in the United States allows private party transfer, so PPT, of a firearm. That means, me and Bob are friends, so I know him pretty well, so I sell my firearm to him, and he doesn't commit a background check, and it's still 100% legal. With that said, even if they do, like in some states like California, they implemented where through PPT, so private party transfer, you basically have to go through the background check, and it has to go through a FFL, which is a federally licensed firearm dealer. But even with that, it's not going to make a difference, and let me tell you why. There's no nationwide gun registry. The only ones that need to be registered are Class 3 weapons, and then in certain states like California, assault weapons, how they classify them, is the only ones that need to be registered. So, say you go ahead and you do a private party transfer and you don't do the background and you don't go through the FFL. Unless you commit a crime with that weapon, how would you ever know that that's happened? That's the equivalent of me asking you to come to my house and me selling you a bag of sugar in my house and not doing any of the regulations. I mean, obviously, this is a scenario, regulations to sell you that item. Because unless you actually commit a crime with that weapon obtained illegally through the PPT transfer, no one's ever going to know. What they do, how they trace them is someone commits a crime with a weapon and they find the weapon. So they take the serial number and then they contact the manufacturer and they tell them which store they sold that to. And then they contact that store, and the store has a record of which they keep of who bought that rifle from that store. And when a rifle gets, or not a rifle, when a shop gets closed down, they send all the records they've ever had to the ATF for them to keep. But when you buy a weapon, the ATF can't keep that paperwork documenting you have that firearm for more than 30 days. So there's no way they can ever, basically as of right now, know that if that's your gun or not. As long as you're legal, as long as you're not a felon and otherwise prohibited from owning a weapon, I can borrow my friend's gun and says it's mine, and no one will even know, and no one can prove me wrong about it unless I obviously tell somebody. But with a gun show loophole, I mean, all it is strategic marketing. If I was selling homemade baked pies, I think my best bet would be to go to a farmer's market or some kind of food bake drive or something to sell that, because obviously those people are looking for items like that, and that's the same thing that happens in the gun show loophole, as they call it. So I have 5 guns. Say I have 10 guns and 2 I don't want anymore. So I go to this gun show and I set up my own little booth with their permission or whatever, and I sell these guns. And so people will buy these guns off me, and they don't need a background check because I'm not a federally licensed arms dealer. And that's what they don't get is private party transfer is legal and always has been, and it should be. And I disagree with the states that require a background check to go through private party transfer. I mean, does it make sense that you register the same weapons with the same entity that you're supposed to fight it with? We gotta always remember the Second Amendment wasn't for hunting, wasn't for sporting. The reason why it was intended was so we can fight a tyrannical government if it ever came to that point. So why should I logically take my weapon and register it with the government, knowing that all it's making is an easy grab list for them? It's illogical. It doesn't make sense. The Second Amendment, a lot of people believe that it's for hunting or sporting, but that's just not true. So just go ahead and just share this video to someone who tries to basically tries to swing around the gun show loophole myth and like it's the actual thing, because 90% of people who talk about guns don't know a single damn thing about them, whether it's political or even the functions or anything to that aspect. So with that said, there's politicians out there, like Dianna Feinstein comes to mind. They don't know anything about guns, not one thing. I just saw a video today saying a woman, she was trying to go for banning, the high capacity magazines or whatever they want to call it nowadays. because once it runs out of ammo, they'll eventually run dry. So basically, what she was trying to say was that once you use a magazine, you can't ever reload it again, and it just throw it away. It's a one-time use. After your 30 rounds in that magazine, you can never use it again. And these are the kind of politicians that are actually trying to push gun control. I'll be covering this topic more because I'm a really big gun guy, and I think I understand it more than 99% of the people out there, and are able to portray my thought and facts on the matter, especially with the Second Amendment and what it's actually meant for. So go ahead and like and subscribe if you're on YouTube for me. Thanks for watching.